yeah, as a regular volunteer myself, although I do plan on getting a key so I can come in whenever I have a moment of free time to help out. You can come in whenever you want. We have open hours Saturday afternoons and let's see, it's Friday, I believe.
No, Saturday afternoon from 2 to 4.
2 to 4, that's right.
Tuesday evening from 7 to 9. And on Thursday afternoons from 2 to 4.
That's right. Sorry, I'm a Saturday person myself, so I come in. That's my usual day of volunteering. Yeah. So the other hours I don't know too well, but we come in, help out, and what happens is we pick up the letters that the prisoners have all sent in, and usually they are very, very grateful for the service that we're able to provide for them. And what we try to do is match up their requests as best we can to the books we have available. And I mean, given our rather eclectic collection, it can be slightly difficult because if you have a guy requesting Norse mythology, you might only be able to find a book generally about it, not specifically the subject. But there's a whole variety that happens. So like they've requested mythology, they've requested like maybe the classics, dictionary. And what we do, we go to the shelves, do our best to match it up as specifically as we can with the requests they've made before assembling those books to get ready to get shipped. And what we do, we go through our database of matching up the inmate with the books that he's requesting, and that way, as like mentioned before, we have to have this limit of books every 4 months just due to shipping costs, just to make sure that we aren't sending the books out too frequently, otherwise we'll be a little bit in the red, unfortunately. But in general, just trying to find books that fit their requests and match everything that they're wanting to read.
If I could ask you, Brian, how did you hear about UC Books2Prisoners?
Well, I saw like the occasional flyer up actually at the university where I worked, and then also I got involved with the bike cooperative that is in the same building as Books2Prisoners. So I was literally right next door. I had free time, noticed that the hours were right after I was stopping at the co-op, and decided to drop in one day, and it's been pretty frequent volunteering ever since.
You were hooked, weren't you?
I was hooked.
And Brian, what about you?
I think I just learned about Books2Prisoners kind of through osmosis. There was a lot of information about it, just in the community, the websites I checked, so eventually I got to the point where I had the amount of free time and, sent an informational email and got a reply and started coming in.
Great. We have a lot of ways that we try to get volunteers from the community. One of the ways we recently got a grant from the Community Foundation of East Central Illinois. They gave us a grant to purchase an event tent and tables. We take that out. We were recently at the Sweet Corn Festival, and we've done the farmers market at Lincoln Square, where we go out, do some community outreach. We hand out our pamphlets that we have. You may see these floating around. They look like this. We hand out our pamphlets. We talk to people. We have a display board with pictures of our work area and people working, and it describes what we do. So we try to get volunteers as well as donations through our event tent.
And I now have a part of the brochure that Jason is showing you that is all over. They're free, and we put them by the bins. If you donate books, you can get a brochure. And these tell the hours for the volunteers and many other things.
It has all of the book drop-off sites, the hours, what you can do, what our mission statement is. It has the address where you can write us, and numbers that you can call for book drops or for if you have questions on volunteer services. You can also get all of this information on our website and learn a lot more about us at www.books2prisoners.org.
Thank you. Brian, did you talk about the database?
Oh, well, a little bit. I mean, since we have to reference everything that like the inmates have requested and all, it's put together completely by our volunteers. Jay, I know, was an integral part of starting that up, and he's put a lot of love and effort into it. But it's essentially, just a correlation. We are able to look up the exact book that was that we're going to be sending out to the inmate by its ISBN number, and essentially it combs Amazon, so we know exactly like who's received what in the past, and so that way we can make sure that we're correlating as bestly as we can to the interests of the inmates.
And now, specifically, why would we go to all that trouble? Why would we want to know what we have already sent somebody?
Well, I mean, just because of, I guess, duplicities is always an issue at hand, that you don't want to be continually sending the same, like, Stephen King novel, like, to them. I mean, if they might like Stephen King, but if you're continually getting The Stand over and over again, I mean, not exactly the best situation for you.
And not to mention dictionaries. We only send one to each prisoner. Yeah.
Another reason that database is good is because if we get a letter from an inmate requesting a book or a genre, and we maybe have questions about, well, what kind of, I don't have the book he needs, but let's see what kind of books he ordered or asked for before. We can look back in that database and see that, oh, he was really interested in science fiction. I don't have the exact book he wants, but I can send him a sci-fi that he might enjoy.
And that brings us to final function of this database, which is to track the number of books and the number of prisoners and the number of packages that we have mailed. We actually began in 2004, early 2004, and started in an apartment of a graduate student and moved into the IMC in the basement, where we have a really beautiful space big enough for 1,000 books to be held, and the computers, and we did that at the end of 2004. It was at the very beginning of 2006 that Jay Schubert got us going with this database that was created for us. And because of that, we do have some interesting figures on what we have done.